Hello everyone. Today we'll start with History Chapter 6, The Revolt of 1857. So let's begin. By 1857, the British had established colonial domination over a major part of India through arbitrary method of annexation and harsh economic policies. The kings, queens, peasants, landlords, tribals, and soldiers were all affected in different ways. Indian historians call the revolt of 1857 as the first war of independence. Though the revolt of 1857 might have begun as a mutiny of sepoys, it soon revealed its true colors as a platform for mass struggle. That is why it is not incorrect to call it the first war of independence. The revolt of 1857 was not a mere spontaneous uprising caused by localized displeasure against some arbitrary administrative decisions. It had deep underlying political, social, economic, religious, and military causes. To begin with, we would start with political causes. As you have read earlier, Lord Dalhousie applied the doctrine of lapse widely. According to this doctrine, he took over all the territories whose rulers had died without leaving any natural male heir. When the Peshwa Bajirao died, his adopted son Nana Sahib was refused the pension which his father had been getting. Then the Mughals felt humiliated, etc. Then, second is economic cause. The weavers employed in the textile industries lost their job. There was a great loss for handicraft industries too. The commercial policy of the British was directly opposed to Indian trade and commerce. They collected as much land revenue as they could squeeze out from the peasants. The peasants and zamindars wanted to get rid of themselves of this revenue collection systems. Heavy taxes had been levied on the Indian people, but people did not have the capacity to pay them. Then is social cause. British wanted to abolish sati and stopped child marriages. While this was a good thing, many Orthodox Hindus thought they were trying to change the social order. The English preached Christianity through educational institutions while ridiculing Indian religious beliefs. People believed that as soon as railways reached some corner of the country, the English influence would follow and undetermine the existing social order. Than religious causes. Christian priests were openly trying to convert Indian people. There was dissatisfaction among the Indians that grew with the spread of Western education. Then, military causes. There was a great degree of inequality of treatment between Indians and European troops. Even a newly recruited English officer considered himself superior to the Indian Subedar who served under him. Low salaries and ill treatment meted out to Indian sepoys shook their loyalty to the British and to the army they had set up. Forbidden to wear the caste and sectarian marks. Then there were the last cause, that was immediate cause. Immediate cause. In 1856, a new model of Enfield rifle was introduced and issued to the Indian sepoys in place of the earlier old rifles. The cartridges were said to be greased with the fat of cows and pigs, though the British government denied. The Indian sepoys refused to use these cartridges since the paper covering the cartridges had to be bitten off before they could be loaded into the rifle. These greased cartridges offended the religious sentiments of Hindus and Muslims. On being forced to use them, Mangal Pandey, a sepoy of the Barakpur regiment, rebelled and was hanged. The outbreak of revolt. The Great Revolt began in Barakpur, a town to the north of Calcutta. The news about the new cartridges spread from one place of the country to other. The British government suppressed the uprising at first, but Barakpur was again stirred with excitement. The Indian soldiers at Barakpur refused to use the greased cartridges. A sepoy called Mangal Pandey triggered off the revolt at Barakpur by refusing to use the cartridges. He fired at an English officer, was arrested, and subsequently hanged. He was the first martyr of the revolt. On May 9, 90 soldiers of the army stationed at Meerut, 57 kilometers from Delhi, also refused to use the cartridges. 85 of them were disarmed, arrested, and jailed for 10 years. The next day, on May 10, the whole of the Meerut army was in revolt. The soldiers stormed the jail and released the prisoners. All the British officers were shot dead. The soldiers now marched to Delhi, where the local infantry joined them and killed all the British officers. The old Mughal emperor Bahadur Shah Zafar II was proclaimed the ruler of India. Delhi, Kanpur, Lucknow, Bareilly, and Jhansi were the main centers of the revolt. Main centers of revolt. Delhi. The soldiers marched towards Delhi. The English officer in Delhi made a futile attempt to arrest the advance of the revolutionaries. The rebel declared Bahadur Shah Zafar II to be their king. Within 4 or 5 days, they captured Delhi. Sir John Nicholson recaptured Delhi in September 1857. Thousands of people and soldiers were tortured in several ways and put to death under the supervision of General Neil. Bahadur Shah Zafar was arrested and sentenced to life imprisonment and deported to Rangoon, where he died in 1862. His 2 sons were shot dead before his eyes. Thus did the once powerful Mughal Empire meet its inglorious end. Then is Awadh. The revolt of Lucknow was led by Hazrat Mahal, the Begum of Awadh. She was wife of Wazid Ali Shah. Begum Hazrat Mahal organized an all-out attack on the British and besieged General Henry Lawrence and other Englishmen in the Residency. Sir Henry Lawrence was shot dead. Lucknow was recaptured in 1858 by British officers under the leadership of General Campbell. The Begum shipped away to Nepal. Then Kanpur. At Kanpur, Nana Sahib declared himself to be the Peshwa. He was the adopted son of Peshwa Bajirao II. He was a brave and determined general. He led the revolt and captured the fort. His able commander, Tatya Tope, was known for his sense of patriotism and his skill in guerrilla warfare. All Britishers, women, and children included, were executed. The English succeeded in recapturing the city. Nana Sahib escaped to Nepal and thence into the hills where he died later. Then Bihar. In Bihar, the rebellion was led by Kumar Singh, Raja of Jagdishpur. They had many encounters with the British and took over Azamgarh. Later on, Kumar Singh joined Nana Sahib but received a fatal wound while fighting and died in April 1858. Then Jhansi. In central India, the revolt was led by Rani Lakshmi Bai of Jhansi. She was supported by Tatya Tope, the commander of Nana Sahib's forces. Both of them put off stiff resistance against the English. However, when all the chances of victory ended, the Rani escaped and joined Tatya Tope at Kalpi. Their combined forces were defeated in Gwalior. The Rani died in June 1858, fighting bravely till the end. When she was killed in action, Sir Hugh Rose, the commander of the victorious British forces, paid her the highest compliment when he said that she was the only man among the rebels. Suppression of the revolt. The Britishers had a strategy to reduce or to limit the revolt. Nizam of Hyderabad, Begum of Bhopal, and King of Nepal helped Britishers. Delhi was recovered by Nicholson. Governor General was helped by his best commanders. Many villages were burned, and all the revolutionaries were killed and were died, like Rani Lakshmi Bai, Tatya Tope, Kunwar Singh, Bhagat Singh, etc. And at the end, in 1859, the Britishers were very powerful as they restored their rule and order in India. Then, failure causes. There were many reasons why the revolt of 1857 did not succeed. Not chance but certain inherent shortcomings were responsible for this failure. Some of these reasons were as follows. The revolt was not as widespread as it sometimes portrayed. It could not embrace the entire country and became an all India struggle. Sindh, Rajputs, Kashmir and Punjab did not took part in it. The Sikh Rajput battalions remained loyal and helped the British to suppress the revolt. Then the revolutionaries were poorly organized. They had no common plan of action. The revolutionaries lacked resources like man, money, etc. Then, effect of revolts. The revolt was crushed, but the sacrifices had not been made in vain. A landmark in the history of British India, it produced far-reaching consequences. It ended the long period of misrule of the East India Company. The entire Indian Empire was placed directly under the British crown. Queen Victoria was proclaimed the Empress of India. The rule of Mughals and that of Peshwas came to an end. The post of Governor General was done away with. Viceroys were now put in charge of the Indian Dominion. The Indian rulers were assumed that their state would no longer be taken over. They were also given the authority to declare their adopted son as their legal heir. Side by side with the English, Indians were also promised high positions according to their merits. Queen Victoria's Proclamation. A proclamation was issued by Queen Victoria when she assumed responsibility for governing India. So, this was the complete chapter of the Revolt of 1857. I hope you understood the chapter. That's all for today. Have a nice day. Thank you.